Welcome to the Sisters Uncensored podcast, where we get into everything from childhood trauma to millennial adulting and all things in between.
We share crazy stories from the past and present to help us cope with the insanity that is our lives.
By sharing our perspectives, we hope to bring some relatability, laughter, and unsolicited advice that can help you survive the messiness of life along with us.
My name's Jessica Labita. I'm a millennial mom, wife, and marketing professional, and I am absolutely insane.
My name is Ashley Lanive. I am a millennial stay-at-home mom, avid golfer, and too mouthy for my own good.
We are real sisters, and this is Sisters Uncensored. Take this trip with us. Welcome to Sisters Uncensored. This week, we are going to talk about how open is too open with family.
This is going to be a fun one.
Oh, I know.
I'm so here for it.
So I think that we've been told
Recently.
shockingly and recently, yes, that we are too open as a family, that we talk about too much stuff that normal people don't talk about with their family. And so we are perceived as making others uncomfortable.
And we're embarrassing. Pretty much.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think when it comes to being really open about things,
Yep.
there's a scale.
I would agree with you.
Okay, so there's people who say absolutely jack shit to each other in their families. They don't talk about anything. Everything is swept under the rug. Everything's quiet. Blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
Everybody just goes on living.
Right.
Pretend things don't happen, things like that.
Yes, they're called Irish people.
Oh, okay. If you're Irish, let us know in the comments.
Come on,
if
it's
this is
true.
If it's true, maybe, I don't know.
I mean, if you've dated
It's certainly not Italians.
if you've I don't know, maybe some Italian. If you've dated an Irish guy, though, you know they don't talk about shit.
Really?
None of them.
Actually, you're right.
I know.
I dated an Irish guy. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
2 Irish guys. You're right.
I'm telling you.
Guys, come on. Get it together.
Uh-huh.
I don't understand why Irish guys are dating Italian girls. Because that's a huge mistake.
That's probably why they're trying to break the barrier.
We're breaking the cycle.
Breaking the cycle.
Okay, anyway.
Yes.
Whatever. Anyway, so there's a scale. So there's like, you talk about absolutely nothing.
Yep.
There's a middle that's like, okay, we talk about some things, but like we choose our words very wisely and
Yep.
carefully, but like we kind of get things
Right.
out
We cover sensitive subjects, but in a
basis.
diplomatic, appropriate manner.
You think so? Okay.
That's the middle.
That's the middle ground.
Yes.
And then there's
Us.
the high end of the scale, which is us, where we'll talk about anything and everything, and we don't feel uncomfortable about it.
Not at all. And if we make other people uncomfortable, we don't care.
Guess
And
what?
Sometimes we do it on purpose.
Yeah, we do. You know what? That's a you problem as far as I'm concerned. That's not
agree.
an Ashley problem. That's not a Jessica problem. If you're uncomfortable, you got to figure out why you're uncomfortable.
Yeah. No.
'Cause I'm not uncomfortable.
No, I agree.
Whatever. You're right. Anyway, so I think it's a scale.
Yeah.
I think a big part of generational gaps is our grandparents, our great-grandparents, and especially the boomers were all very much on that side of the scale where they discussed nothing.
I think even some people in our parents' generation are very much so that way.
That's boomers.
Yeah.
They're the boomers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they discussed nothing.
No.
Everything was low-key, quiet,
Yeah.
like
Well, and they're like anti-therapy.
super secretive.
You have no problems. If you do, you hold it in and sweep it under the rug.
Yeah.
We don't talk about stuff. We certainly don't talk about it with strangers.
Yeah, family business is family business.
Yep.
Yeah. I think there's that. So I think as a result of growing up with parents, and I'm sure because they were raised this way, that you did not discuss things like comfortably and openly and in a healthy way, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Now we're oversharers.
Yes.
And like oversharers to the point where like we don't give a fuck
Right.
really what comes out of our mouth.
No, there is no subject off limits.
No,
At least, okay,
I don't think there is.
with our family,
With our with most of
with
our family.
most of our family, I would say with the exception of a few who are the judgers who have made us feel like we can talk about anything and everything.
Right.
We can talk about anything. There
Yeah.
is no subject off limits.
Fleshlights,
Right.
You name it.
porn,
Yeah. Porn.
what your engagement is with your partners.
Yeah.
Like emotional shit, baggage, like a guy beats the shit out of you.
Yep.
This happened, right?
Mm-hmm.
Drugs, alcohol, like
Anything.
anything you can talk about.
Anything. Exactly.
Yes, if you're sleeping with someone who is not like of the same gender or is of the same gender.
Or has a big dick.
Right. Yeah.
Like literally
anything.
anything. We talk about anything.
Anything.
And it's fine.
I know.
Like,
and I'm not uncomfortable about it.
No, and I don't feel like the majority of our family is. I feel
No.
like everybody is just like,
Very open and like,
how
whatever.
big? Like, what do you mean? Like, when people inquire. That's what I think it's like. It's
Yeah.
never like oh, why you get it? Well, sometimes you get from dad because it's like, he'll be like, really?
I know.
but
But I think about like
he's so good.
our aunts and uncles on that side and like our cousins on mom's side. We could have these conversations with any of them
And we
about
can all-
anything. And it's a safe space.
And yeah, everybody at least has a good sense of humor about
Yep,
it. You know
for
what
sure.
I mean? Like, for the most part, we're pretty all good and like comfortable that way with each other.
Yes.
And then there's a handful that just don't discuss anything. And because they don't, it seems like
We're the problem.
we're an issue.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't think that we are.
So we get reprimanded often by our mom for not, for being open, basically, and saying what we think. If it's in this brain, it comes out of this mouth 90% of
Basically.
the time, I would say. Now, that's not to say there's not an ability to filter because, like, we know how to read a room.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
We know how to, like, manage ourselves in professional situations. There's a time and a place for, like, I'm not walking into church being like, what the fuck's up? Where are you? You know what I mean? Like,
Exactly.
obviously. So, like, you know,
Exactly. That was a good example.
you know when to curb, you know to, like, you can read other people. So you have this emotional intelligence where if someone's not a swearer, like my best friend is not a swearer.
I know. I think that's so funny.
She's just not. And like she prides herself on not swearing. And I love her for it. And it makes her who she is. But like, I'm not swearing around her because she doesn't swear. Like, I just do
I am being me.
what I do. Right.
We're actually in a group chat about something that we were just all talking about, something in like pop culture or whatever. And somebody sent over like a TikTok video about it. My response, it was about Blake Lively, fucker. And my response to the group chat, which is, mind you, like 7 girls that I'm not even close with. I don't like, I don't know why I'm on this chat, but whatever I am.
Club.
But like literally my response is, what a twat. Like that was it. And it was great. I was like, these people don't swear the way I swear.
No.
That's okay. It's fine. I don't care.
No, no, it's fine. I think so. So anyway, back to like how I think our mom was raised was that they didn't talk about anything. There was, even though there were many issues like in her childhood and growing up and things that happened that were not ideal.
Yeah.
I think as opposed to addressing them and like making it a subject that's discussed and worked through emotionally with other people who are dealing with the same scenario, they just didn't talk about anything.
It's almost like they just pretend it doesn't happen.
Yeah, it doesn't exist.
And that is such a delulu world to like live in to me.
Yep.
Also, like, not only that, but this is just from personal experience. I went years, like without ever sharing anything like that was really deep in my mind or like that I was thinking.
Sure.
I mean, like I would fire off a couple of snarky remarks here and there. Nothing like how I am now, where I am just like an unfiltered piece of shit. I don't care. I'm just kidding. Like, we're really like, I'm just letting it all like hang out. I don't know. I'm at a different phase of life. But years.
No fucks given.
Yeah, no fucks given. Exactly.
Or all the fucks because she just lets them out.
Just letting all the fucks out. But I did not talk about a lot of the things that really weighed on my mind.
Yeah.
And the amount of distress that put on my health and my body, like it was not good for you. It was, and then once I opened those floodgates and I was like, I am just letting it all out.
Yeah.
All of it. I don't care. I don't give a shit. This is this is that. This is what it is. Judge. I don't care. Whatever. It was such a breath of fresh air to me. And I
did
never
you feel
went back.
like, did you feel better and like less stress? Like,
So much less stress.
Right.
I feel like it's refreshing.
yeah.
It's refreshing.
Yeah. I think there are huge repercussions in a family if you do not talk about everything.
Yeah.
And I mean, this could be all the way from like, I mean, it's basically our entire last 30, 40 something episodes. It's like sensitive subjects. I mean, it could be kids growing, developing, bullying, changes to your body,
Sex,
right? Like sex is huge,
Sex
right?
is huge, yeah.
I think like filtering kids from certain things is appropriate. You know what I mean? Based on their age level and like how much they
Brain
can handle
development.
as like, yeah. But like, again, that's a social awareness. That's a parental awareness thing where like, you know what you should and shouldn't tell your kids. But as you reach the point of an adult communicating with another adult, there should be no limits.
Yes, no limits.
Like we talk about everything.
Yep. We listen and we don't judge.
Yes.
That's what it is. I know
That's what it
that's
should
like a
be.
trend right now. Like everybody's doing that.
Yes.
And it's funny and everything. But literally that's how our family is. Like we listen and we don't judge.
And I literally said that exact line to my daughter yesterday. We were like talking about some boy that she knows. And I like said something about him, not like in any way, like implying that like she should like him or date him or anything. It was just talking about him. And she was like, oh, would you stop? And I was like, ew, like I wasn't saying anything other than whatever this fact was. Like, and she was like, whatever, fine. And I was like, we listen and we don't judge.
That's hilarious. Actually, how could that kid?
And she she was like, okay, you're right.
I mean, think about it. Think about some of the stuff that comes out of your kid's mouth. They said coming out of my kid's mouth. That's like,
Right.
but I'm like, okay, you know, like you take it with a grain of salt. But even more importantly, when you're grown adults, like try to see other perspectives, hear it out. You know what I mean? And it's not a sin to discuss things. It's not,
especially with your family. Like those are your people. That's your blood.
Tribe. It's your tribe.
Like if you can't talk to your family, then go find a therapist.
Yeah.
You need to fucking talk to somebody.
You got to get shit out.
Because you can't hold all that stuff in.
It's really not good for you. Also, like not only to just like with your health, but I feel like for those types of families that don't discuss things, like there's a lot of secrets.
Oh, 100%.
It's a lot of walking on eggshells.
Yep. Resentment, wondering like what's going on, like what really happened. Like if you don't have your family history or know like things about your past, I think it can really like screw you up.
And it can manipulate the truth of what you actually believe.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I've always been a facts-driven person.
Yep.
Like when I make decisions on things, I just need all of the information. Just give me all of the information and I can make my decisions that way. That's how I've always operated.
Yeah.
You know that.
Yeah.
If you're not getting any of the facts about any scenario that happens to be played out because it's not being discussed, or you're only getting crumbs here and there, think about how warped your perspective is going to be on whatever that issue is.
Well, agree. And I think to add to that, if you don't know what the issues are, but you suspect that there's things that are not being discussed, you also as a person,
you can't help but speculate.
You speculate and then your brain spirals and you kind of wonder like, how bad is it? Why aren't people talking about it? Like, why doesn't my family say what this is or what that is?
Right,
like,
what don't I know?
What are you hiding?
Yeah.
Who are you really?
Yeah, exactly.
It's weird.
It's true.
And I think too, coming from families of you know, and not that we're like first generation or anything, but we can connect our family's history back to when our great grandparents immigrated. And I feel like, you know, there's a lot of history that like is important to bring to us and to future generations here for our families and our kids that like, I want to know about this stuff.
I agree.
And the same applies for whoever you're married with or procreating with, right? Like, I want to know everything I can possibly know about my husband's side of the family too, because my kids are half of that. So like, of course, tell me all the juicy details just so I know.
Absolutely.
I need to know.
I like getting that kind of tea. That's always fun.
But he thinks, because we've talked to him about this recently.
Okay, so we talked with Jessica's husband about this over Thanksgiving.
Yes, he thinks we're cringy.
He does. He thinks the amount that all of us share in our family is like over the top, like, oh God, what the fuck is wrong with these people?
Yes.
And I think it's refreshing. And I literally said that to him, like, I don't know how you could walk around and not be able to talk to your family about things that are on your mind.
Yeah. I think she's right. Like, they are not nearly as open as we are. They have definitely like family secrets and don't talk about certain things. And sometimes shit's weird and we like pretend like it doesn't happen and whatever. But I'm not choosing to be that way.
No.
So like, and what I love about him is even though he's still sort of that way and he's a bit reserved, he does accept us for who we are.
He totally does.
He listens and he doesn't judge. He might be judging.
He definitely judges.
He might be judging secretly, but he's doing it quietly.
But he keeps it to himself.
And he doesn't make me ever feel bad about it.
No, he doesn't. He really doesn't.
No.
He's good like that.
But like, I have to tell him certain things about the kids and he'll be like, I don't want to know this stuff. But I'm like, you need to know because some situations are better handled by dad and son than mom and son, right? And there's also shit as a woman or as a man that like you don't experience. And so when you're raising children, one parent may be more appropriate than the other to talk to that kid. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so yeah, granted it's uncomfortable, but like it's better to talk about it than not.
Yeah, I agree.
And so I don't know. I think because we grew up in a house where there were so many fucking secrets because all this shit was spiraling around us and we were kids. So I get that they were sheltering us from it, but I was 13 and I felt like
you were more than aware.
I was aware there was a bunch of messed up stuff going on. And like, had someone just spoken to me at my level of maturity instead of trying to pretend like nothing was actually happening or lying right about shit, I would have handled things much better as an adult. And that's another reason why I think I'm very much an oversharer.
I completely agree with you. I think I'm the exact same way for that exact same reason. Also, I think, again, like I said, because I didn't talk for so long, and probably it was because that's what we knew, I finally let everything, like once I opened those floodgates, I swear to God, like I've never felt more like myself.
Yeah.
That is like, I would never go back.
Yeah.
I would never go back. And again, like we're not animals. We have the wherewithal to know when like it's appropriate to say certain things and when it's not.
Sure.
Okay. But specifically when you're with your family, you should be able to say whatever the fuck you want.
Agree.
Period. Yes. I look at relationships with people that I know that have been like that since childhood where they are open as can be. Like look at Aunt Kathy and Courtney. I think they have the most beautiful relationship.
I would agree.
They are so close.
Yep.
She can talk to her about
no
anything.
judgment.
Never a judgment. She listens.
Yep.
She hears her.
Yep.
And she works with her. Like when I'm talking not like just as an adult.
But like good, like experience, like
not even,
and helps her to think and see situations in other ways. Like,
that some things like are, you just know from age.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Yes.
Where like you can offer insight. But I mean, even going back to when we were kids, she always was so good about talking to her and listening to her.
Yep.
Hearing her out and not making her feel bad or anything like that.
She's someone I feel like we could go to. And it's
tomorrow.
The same thing, like
tomorrow.
Yeah, I could tell her everything. I could tell it to her exactly how I need to tell it to her in that moment. Because again, I think too, how you present information is based on emotion, situation, how things are happening. If you're pissed, you're gonna curse a lot more. Sometimes just because you're hyped up, you're gonna curse a lot more. Like there could be, like you're making a point when you use certain words, and I think. However it comes out in that moment is how it needs to leave that person's body. So whoever's on the receiving end of it needs to just take it for what it is.
Yes.
Like, listen again and don't judge.
Exactly.
Like, just hear it. Hear what they're saying. And they're using those words for a reason.
Exactly. I couldn't say it better myself.
So our parents give us a really hard time about how much we curse. Specifically Ashley, because she's a trash mouth. And we've established this.
I don't care.
I curse a lot, I think. But I do make a conscious effort to try not to curse as much as I do.
Well, I think my day is surrounded by a little kid.
Yeah.
So I am not cursing as much as I possibly can, which is
all day long.
All day long.
Right.
So when I'm talking to another adult, it's like I'm letting
the floodgates.
I'm letting it out.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm going to just be able to talk like myself and not like I'm talking to a 5-year-old.
Right. How we talk to each other.
Exactly. All the time.
Yeah.
Also, I think another thing about the
And
cursing.
how we talk to you guys.
Exactly. Literally. I mean, I think you guys all understand too. I mean,
Yes.
I think this is another thing too about it. Way back when, with the boomers age and every other age and prior to our generations, is they didn't speak this way. Like it was like very taboo to say a bad word. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I think it was so drilled in us as kids of what you could and could not say.
Yeah.
That again, now we're oversharers, and our entire generation, I feel like everybody talks like this.
I agree.
I look at the shows that I watch on TV. If it's reality TV, right?
Sure.
You watch on Peacock, you know that they do like the unfiltered version where it's like nothing is censored.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they're not.
It's this.
It's this. They talk the exact same way that we do. They're like, oh, for fuck's sake.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or whatever.
Yeah.
We just watched The Flight Attendant.
Yep.
The amount of swearing that was in that. Listen, it goes in one ear and out the
I
other
don't
when it
even
comes
notice.
to me. You don't even notice. You know what? It's somebody in our age, our generation,
Yep.
and they all talking like if you go back and watch it, the entire time she's like, "What the fuck?"
Right.
Or fucking hey, fuck you.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
that. This is how we talk.
Yep.
All right. Like it's not. It's not that deep.
No, I agree.
It's not that
I
deep.
think they put so much emphasis on the words that are being used and not what is actually being said.
I think that's exactly what it is. That's a big problem.
Yeah.
Because you're not hearing me.
Yeah. So ironically, mom is very much like my biggest adversary when it comes to how I communicate. Like she hates how I talk. She hates how you talk. She does not listen to what we say. And she's constantly yelling mid-sentence at us for using the words we're using as opposed to listening to what we're telling her.
She legit told me last week that every time I swear, it's nailing another nail in Christ's hand.
Oh my God, that is absolutely extreme.
I was like, are you fucking serious? Literally, like, that's what you got out of what I'm talking to you about? Like,
I know.
but whatever, go ahead.
So then we have this situation that comes up, and she calls me to tell me about this particular situation. I won't go into too much detail, but basically I'm like asking questions like, what happened? What's going on? Who, like, whatever. And she's like, I don't know. Nobody will tell me anything. Nobody in that family talks. Da, 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 da. And she's going on about people not talking. And I'm like, you are such a hypocrite. Hypocrite. Because she curbs herself for other people.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not doing that.
Yep.
But then on the flip side with her, there are situations where you give that woman a glass or two of
Oh,
wine.
yeah.
She'll talk your ear off and tell you everything and anything that you don't want to know. It's typically about two subjects. One, our father's divorce, or two, bodily functions.
Yes. Or 3, who did your makeup?
Oh my God, yes. She gets mean.
Yeah, she says so. God, I'll never forget this. This is
She
like
says
3
the
Christmases
meanest
ago.
things.
She had like 2 glasses of wine. It was Christmas Eve, and everybody's over at my
I have like a Christmas sweater on that says something about wine and like green leggings. Like it was very festively dressed, and I had green like eye makeup on. Like it was very Christmassy. I was trying to look Christmassy.
It was very. I mean, listen, it wasn't a look I would have gone with. I'm not gonna lie. But who gives a shit?
Right.
It was.
I liked
Christmassy,
it.
was
I have
fun.
a picture. I will post it. It was
Post
not
it.
that bad.
It wasn't great.
We'll put it.
Well, whatever. Either way, yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The fact of the matter
I
is,
felt
like,
fine.
you come over and I'm like, oh, she looks cute. I like it. She's like being like character-y for the
Yeah.
holiday. It's cute. It's festive. It's fun.
Right.
Whatever. Deb has 2 glasses of wine and she's on the second glass. She goes, well, normally I wouldn't normally say this unless I wasn't on my second glass of wine. But who did your makeup? Who did it? Like Lorraine?
Oh my God.
I was like, holy. Lorraine's our grandmother, by the way.
Yeah.
It's okay for her to talk shit about her, by the way.
It is. Yeah. But yeah, no, she'll like insult you.
Yeah.
When she's had a couple glasses of wine.
It's funny. And I mean, we at least can laugh it off.
I
We're
know.
Like, Jesus, okay. It was hysterical.
There was one time I saw her out at a bar and she stayed and like hung out with me and my girlfriend, and like it turned into her over drinking and oversharing about our parents' divorce with my girlfriend. And I was like, well, this is fucking embarrassing. And I just kind of sat there the whole time, like listening to the story that I've heard 7,000 times because she just
7,000 is generous.
right. Because she just That's all she talks about. It's her whole life. And I'm like, all right.
So here's the thing about it.
And I get that was traumatic. Like it's a big part of who we are,
I get it too.
you know?
But like, it was
like-
also 30 fucking years ago.
Let it go. Right.
Here's the thing. Okay. So we overshare about all different kinds of topics that we were just talking about, like vibrators and fucking dick sizes and whatever it might be. Who cares?
Right.
Right. The things that she overshares about, more specifically the divorce story, it's not even necessarily when you're drinking. She will tell anyone and everyone who will listen.
Yeah.
So I worked at this company for years, and at the time, our mom worked somewhere else, and she wanted to leave where she was, and a position opened up by us, and I was like, maybe you want to come to work here? This would be great.
Right.
So she did. We work well together. Like, it was never going to be an issue. We had a good relationship. We have a good relationship. So at the time, like when she came to work, it was like her first week there. I woke up to my receptionist, or the company's receptionist, not my receptionist, but I woke up to her and I'm like, hey, how's it going? I need XYZ, blah, blah, blah. Can you do whatever? She's like, yeah. She's like, how's your mom liking it? And I'm like, I think she's liking it. And she's like, yeah, I was talking to her. She told me all about the divorce. And I'm like, that was 30 fucking years ago. Why are you telling this receptionist
Oh my God.
about that? Like, what in the actual fuck? All right, like, talk about oversharing. That's oversharing.
Yeah.
That is oversharing.
So it's funny that you bring this up now because oversharing, or at least sharing and being more open with your feelings, is becoming a huge trend in corporate America about trying to like dig deeper into why people are the way that they are and understanding what's beneath the surface so you can understand their reactions at work
Makes sense.
in a better way, which I think is a good thing.
I think so too.
I actually do. It's a lot of what we're coaching people on. It's a lot of what it creates more transparency. It helps you to see people for who they truly are and to really understand like what they've been through in their life so you can relate to them and then better understand their behaviors or why they might react or be a certain way. If someone's very closed off, doesn't talk in a meeting, perceived as unengaged or whatever, maybe they're not. Like maybe they're sick or dealing with something. Like you don't know what's happening in people's lives. And so people are very quick to assume things, especially I think in a professional setting, because we don't talk about a lot openly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I also think in a professional setting, like not for nothing, but for years and years and years, and this has always been like the tone in a professional setting, is that everything is buttoned up and profesh.
Right.
And no one in their real life
Is like that. Right.
So it's like walking into a constant facade every single day.
Yeah, it's very inauthentic.
Yeah.
And so that's a lot of what's happening now is bringing people more to be able to be their authentic selves at work.
That's awesome.
And I love it. I really do. Because I don't feel like I'm able to be my authentic self. And it's interesting because initially, like when I started hearing about this shift in corporate America, I thought it was more about sexuality and things like that, or race, where people feel like they can't express their cultures or, things that may exist in their cultures because they're not your typical white male executive, right? Mm-hmm. And I mean, I've had so many people who open up and share and tell me stories about like why they feel some kind of way in a professional setting and their reasons that I would have never thought of. Another example is like being gay or straight and feeling you can't talk about your partner or your life because people are going to judge me because I have a wife instead of a husband or whatever, right? Yeah. And so initially I think that's where this sort of started coming from. Mm-hmm. And it's evolved and gotten so much bigger to where it's not just about those things. It's much bigger than that. And it does talk about people's personal traumas and things that have been moments in your life that have made you who you are, things that drive you to be the human that you are today. And like sharing that stuff is super important. And I think it makes everybody more authentic and it creates real relationships with people that make you want to work and be with them and be around them. I know for a fact for myself, and I can speak like only for me in my career, but I have handpicked my last probably 4 or 5 bosses because they fit a criteria that I wanted in someone who was going to leave me because I could learn from them, because I knew they were real. Because when I got into a meeting room with them, they would be like, fuck this shit. This is bullshit, XYZ, whatever. And I was like,
Exactly.
yep, I want to work with you. I want to work with her. I want to work with him, because they say what's real. And like, that's this whole openness thing is like, you can tell when people are being real or when they're being pretend in life, in corporate America, everywhere.
In general. Yep. In general. I totally agree with that. I typically swear in front of people right away. Just to gauge. I just want to gauge if they're like, because normally I feel like if I drop any
You
kind
were
of
on the phone with
swear
like customer service or some shit the other day with your bank, and you dropped an F-bomb, and I almost lost my shit.
I didn't care.
I was dying.
She liked it too.
I know, and then I hear the engagement and the banter back and forth between the two of you, like one-sided, and I was like, I don't know what's happening with their best friends now.
Listen,
It was all because you dropped an F-bomb.
it's because, listen, I'm a real person and I know you are too.
Right.
So listen, like, I'm not here to bust your balls about my fucking account being frozen, all right? Like, I just want to, like, make sure it gets fixed. Like, I get you got shit you got to do too. I don't want to keep you too long. Like, I know you're trying to make small talk and be polite. And I just letting you know, you don't have to fucking do that with me. It's fine. It's no big deal. Like, it's cool. It's cool. But that's my point. It's like, I will literally just drop a swear word instantly to see how people react, because I know if somebody responds back to me where they're like, right?
Yeah.
Or like, what a
You're like,
bitch.
okay, you're cool.
Or whatever.
Or,
they're like,
faker.
you're a real person. You're phony. People who are like, oh goodness, like clutching their pearls.
Yes.
I'm like, shut the fuck up. You're not my person. I'm telling you right now, you're not my kind of person.
This is a perfect shirt for clutching pearls.
Clutch your pearls. That's really cute, actually.
I can't believe you said that.
It's true. It's true. And I think a lot of the reason that we are as open as we are is because we have family members in us that are
That allow us
open.
to be that.
Yeah, open to that and allow us to be that way. And I mean, like, Dad's an oversharer too. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I'll FaceTime him.
Definitely.
And he'll answer. And I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, pooping. And I'm like, what the fuck? You didn't have to answer. Like, you want to call me back? Like, we talk like 10 times a day, but like, you don't have to answer when you're shitting.
Right.
It's really okay now.
Right,
You know
right,
what I mean?
right.
But like, we're that comfortable.
I know.
You know what
So
I
where
mean?
you're like, whatever.
Exactly.
Just
like,
don't push or make any fronts.
yeah, like, I'm just going to put you on my kitchen
Just
island
don't
while
turn
I
on FaceTime.
No, I will FaceTime him and he picks up. And it's just his face.
Oh my
And
God.
he's like, hey, chap, what are you doing? And I'm like, oh, I was just calling to see what you're up to. Blah, 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 whatever. What are you doing? He's like, I'm pooping. And I'm like, oh, for God's sake.
Like, didn't need that visual.
No, like, why don't you call me back?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's fine. You don't have to answer a FaceTime.
Yeah, I'm not answering a FaceTime with anyone. I don't know.
No, you know why? Because I already don't get to take a shit on myself.
I know,
All
same.
right? Let alone letting anybody else into the fucking room with me.
Right. No, I totally get
Okay.
it. I get it. I love so like when we were talking about mom, like I will say things on purpose to make her cringe.
I know, that is kind of funny.
Because she's taken it to a level where like she's harped on us so hard that now I can use it as a weapon.
Like, no, I don't think it's a weapon. I think now we just do it.
Like I
For
just
fun.
Yeah. Exactly.
Fucked up.
Yeah.
I'll do it to Dad for fun too.
Yeah, well, we can make him cringe too.
I know, we definitely do.
He laughs it off.
He's so good at receiving it.
Yes.
It's the best.
Yes.
Like, I'm going to give you a good example. So, you know how we did
You do it to me on this fucking show.
all the time.
Oh.
And I see it on your face, and I'm like, I know you're thinking what I'm saying. I know you are. You don't have to say it. I'll be the one. It's
We have like
fine.
our Mormon friends in, and you're like, Jesus Christ. And I'm like, God, please stop saying that.
What? All right, they don't seem offended.
I'm like, they're so prim and proper. They're not cursing. I'm going to be so prim and proper too. And you're like, fuck this shit.
Listen, I know who I am. Love me or hate or leave me. I don't care. That's how it is. But
And I know you're doing it on purpose.
I wasn't. That's just who I fucking am. I'm not curbing myself for anyone.
I know,
I'm
I know.
not.
I
all right?
appreciate it. I
Especially
appreciate
this is our fucking show.
I know.
All right?
Fair.
Like, they knew what they were getting themselves into.
True.
Like,
Don't
are you
come on
serious?
Sisters Uncensored.
Yeah.
Do not expect an F-bomb.
Let's be honest, okay? Like, let's be honest. Okay, so I'm gonna give you a good example of like how I like to tease Dad, like, or I like to poke him to make him cringe.
So you remember a couple of episodes ago, we were talking about when we bought our first vibrators. Okay, right? And you're like, I got this little one and whatever. So if you guys don't know, our dad watches every single episode.
He does. He loves us. He's our biggest fan.
Is our biggest
And our mother
fan.
watches none. So now we've learned we can say whatever we want about you because you're not going to see it.
Refuses. No, her friends will
Yeah, they
send
all
her.
screenshot it, send
Yeah,
it to her, and then
it's-
she gets mad anyway because she doesn't watch it, but they do.
I mean, what do you want us to do? Whatever. Okay, I'm not. Anyway, look, back to the story.
Okay.
All right.
Vibrators.
The
done.
vibrators, right? So dad listens to every single episode, and he's such a good sport about it. Well, he sends me an Instagram video the other day, or reel, a DM or whatever, of a video, and it's of a mom who's going to pick up her kid at his friend's house, and the other mother comes out, and they're chatting on the front steps, and you see the two little boys, they're playing. They're probably like 5, 6.
Oh, yeah.
Running
He
around.
sent it to me too.
Okay, so he sent it to you too. So
I know
these
exactly what you're talking about.
little boys are just running around the house as the moms are chatting, like, oh, what are we making this for dinner? How was he? Was he good? And yeah, all right, it's time. You got to come out. Blah, blah. And the boys come running out, and they look like they're sword fighting, and one has a vibrator in their
And the
hand.
other one has a big floppy dildo.
Dildo, yeah. And they're like, and the mother's face is like, oh, like she's absolutely whatever. So it's funny. Like,
Right.
I mean, it made me chuckle.
Yeah.
But my response back to Dad was, the clear one's a rabbit. And he's like, Jesus Christ. Like, he was literally like,
So
what the
mom would
fuck?
freak out if she thinks him sending us stuff like that is
It's
so,
so
inappropriate.
inappropriate.
And,
And it's like,
that fathers shouldn't joke about those things with their daughters and whatever. And I just so disagree. I would so much rather have that relationship with him to be able to, we are adults, that it's so much better.
I completely agree. I dated the guy for a little while who, I don't know. I felt like every time he was around his family or we were around his family or anything like that, like, I don't know. There was no naturalness. There was no, like, it was just kind of like,
Going through the motions,
Yeah.
robotics,
And I'm like,
pretending.
first of all, you guys are not going to be able to handle me. I can
Right.
tell right now. All right. I'm not your cup of tea. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's not for everybody. That's okay.
Yeah.
But you're not my cup of tea. And I don't mean it in a mean way. I just mean it I can't be suffocated like this,
Yeah.
where it's like there's all of this surface level bullshit.
Yeah.
And it's just not comfortable.
There's no real intimacy.
It's so uncomfortable.
What is the point of a relationship with someone if you can't truly be intimate and be
And
yourself?
Listen, and like that's how some families are. And if it works for you, it works for you. I knew one guy who, his parents were divorced, like whatever. And I remember asking him, like, do you know like why they got divorced? Because they got divorced
Yeah.
when he was fairly young.
Yeah, no idea.
And he's like, I never really asked. And I'm like, you don't know like
Why your
happened?
parents got divorced? Yeah, that's
Like,
strange.
You never asked? And he's
Yeah.
like, well, we don't really talk about those kinds of things. So I'm like, but how can you not know?
Yeah.
Like, I would need to know, like, how did I get here?
Yeah, that's so weird.
I don't know. That's whatever.
All right, so let us know, what are the boundaries? What do you guys think? How open are you with your families? We would love to hear from you to just kind of get an understanding of where other people fall on the scale. How many of you are like us, where you're on the far extreme side? How many of you don't talk about anything with your family? And how has this impacted you as an adult, as you're growing? How do you handle your professional curb? Do you talk about things, personal things with your colleagues? I'd love to know just more about people's input and where you fall.
Yeah. And whoever's not like on the extreme side like us, come on over. It's freeing.
Oh, it's so freeing.
It's so nice over here. I'm not even kidding. You could just be your totally authentic self, and we listen and we don't judge.
Amen.
So we'll see you next week. Thanks for tuning in, guys.
Bye.
Bye.